We're here with Derek Shelmerdine, who's written a book called Rock'n'Roll Unravelled, From Its Roots to Mid-1970s Punk. But it has a lot of stuff in there from the 1950s, which some of our listeners will be interested in. Now, first of all, Derek, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's great to be talking to you.
Thank you. And I just want to ask, what possessed you to write such an extensive book?
Well, what it was, I've always been looking for something like this. What it does, it pulls just about everything I've ever wanted to know into a single volume. The book itself is about 700 pages, and I started writing. I wanted to write a sort of history of rock and roll from its roots. So it goes back to the sort of Robert Johnson era. I know rock and roll goes back into the blues and beyond that into the century before the last.
Yeah.
But really, I've picked it up from the point at which the gramophone record came into being, because then you've got records which are accessible by just about everybody nowadays. So that takes it back to about the 1920s. And I thought it'd be good to take it logically up into the punk era of the mid-70s, which I think really marks the end of the first phase of rock and roll. What I also wanted to do was to incorporate some of the big influencing factors of the 50s and the 60s, things like the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement, because they really had a big impact on the music of the time.
So when you was researching all this lot, was it easy to find the information?
Oh no, it took about 7 years, probably more, to pull together. I've used a lot of reference books, and fortunately I've been an avid record collector for some years, so I've got all the record collector magazines, which are superb. The internet, I couldn't have done it without the access to the internet. But what I did discover is there's an awful lot of contradictory information out there.
Oh, yeah.
So the book is very, very heavily cross-referenced. And when you're doing this sort of thing on a very regular basis, you tend to identify some great sites which, you go back to them a few times, and the information tends to be quite reliable. So what I've done, on my website, I've actually created a page called Links. So some of these websites that I've used that I found some really interesting stuff and reliable, I've put those on there. So anybody who's beating a similar sort of path, or wants to have a look at what the Beatles are up to, say. At the moment, I've got about 10 different Beatles sites up there. So there's some good sites already to check out.
Right.
But that was I wouldn't say it was a challenge. It was interesting, really, that research side in terms of separating the wheat from the chaff, as it were.
Did you do it all by yourself? Did you have help?
No. I've done it all myself.
Right.
It's been a real labour of love.
I bet it has.
Enjoyed music.
Now, you've done it in a three-part structure.
That's right.
Can you explain to us about that?
Yeah, what I decided to do, instead of taking it down the traditional start at the beginning, go on to the middle and finish it at the end kind of format, I thought it'd be interesting to do it in, as you say, the three parts, where the centre part is It Happened Today. So interesting things that happened on a particular day of the year, from the 1st of January through the 31st of December. So all the stories fall into that category. And that's interesting in itself. That's where the bulk of the reading is, as it were. But to give that context, I thought it'd be really good to start it off with a timeline which takes every single one of those entries chronologically, so you can see what else was happening when a particular event was going on, like when the Beatles released their first single, Love Me Do, in the UK in October 62. It transpires that we were about 10 days away from potentially World War III.
Wow.
With the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
I was always interested to know, what else is going on when the Beach Boys recorded Pet Sounds, say. So what I found interesting as I put all this together was you can actually, from that, you can see genres and careers waxing and waning. You can see, one genre sort of logically coming to its conclusion and the next one taking off. And then part 3 is a pocket history, which is a very extensive cross-referencing of everything. So every time, say, the Rolling Stones is mentioned, either because it's about the Rolling Stones or because they took part in something, that's there as well. So for the bigger acts like the Stones, the Beatles, Floyd, it builds up into quite a good history that really gives you most of the important things that ever happened in their careers up until that particular time. As
I say, I've looked at some of the things in this book that you sent me. Things like Elvis Presley's second private recording with Sam Phillips at Memphis Recording Services in 1954.
Right.
Big Joe Turner recorded the original version of Shake, Rattle and Roll on February the 15th, and certain things like that. You know, when Rock and Round the Clock was actually recorded, the date and everything. There's quite a lot of information there, isn't there? So where can we purchase this book then, Derek?
Well, it's available at Amazon on .com and UK, other Amazons as well. So it's easy to get it straight from Amazon. It's already stocked in some UK bookshops, but it's available via the main distributors in the UK. So if anybody just goes into their local bookshop and orders it there, the bookshop can actually get a copy from one of the UK distributors. So it's easy to, and a lot of information on the website as well. So if someone wants to go to my website, they can see links to direct links into where they can buy the book and other information as well.
And what is the website, Derek?
The website's www.rock'n'rollunravelled.com. That's rock unroll, just the N. And the Unravelled spelled the British way with two L's.
Right,
Rock'n'rollunravelled.com.
So
and that gives access to the Twitter and Facebook and the like.
So if you want, you guys out there want vast information of history regarding rock and roll that's unravelled, as Derek said, at your fingertips, it's not something you have to chore through. You can pick it up and go back to it any time you like. It's a reference book, we would say, wouldn't we, Derek?
Oh, absolutely. It's very much designed for dipping in and out of. The first thing people normally look at is go to the diary pages and have a look what happened on their birthday.
Right, okay, well, thanks for talking to us, Derek, and it's great to have you on the show, and I wish you all the success with the book.
Oh, thanks a lot. My pleasure. Really enjoyed chatting.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Susan.